Title: House Number 13. Part 1. The Beginning. In a quiet suburb, there was an old house bearing the number 13. Its owners had abandoned it years ago for reasons no one knew. The house became derelict, and rumors began to spread. Some claimed to hear cries echoing through the night, while others swore they had seen shadows moving behind the shattered windows. A group of friends, Ahmed, Reem, Wissam, and Mona, decided to take on the challenge of visiting the house at midnight to film it and post the video online. They were excited and full of courage, unaware they were stepping into a living nightmare. Part 2. Inside the house. As they entered, they found the house covered in dust, with a heavy smell of mold in the air. The furniture was draped in white sheets, and strange symbols were etched into the walls. Reem began to feel uneasy, while Wissam joked and laughed to ease the tension. Suddenly, the main door slammed shut behind them, causing everyone to scream in terror. Part 3. The First Encounter. While trying to open the door, a strange whispering sound filled the house. The words were incomprehensible, but grew louder and more intense as they ventured deeper. In one of the rooms, they discovered an old box containing photographs of a seemingly happy family. However, one photo was missing, sparking suspicion. At that moment, the sound of footsteps echoed from upstairs. Part 4. The Confrontation. When they went upstairs to investigate, they encountered a woman in a white dress, her face grotesquely disfigured. She screamed in an inhuman voice, "Why have you returned?" before vanishing into the darkness. The friends tried to escape, but the house seemed determined to keep them inside. Floors shifted, doors disappeared, and walls closed in around them. Part 5. The End. After hours of screaming and running, they found an old journal revealing the story of the family who once lived there. The father had practiced dark magic, which led to an eternal curse. They realized that unless they completed the ritual to lift the curse, they would remain trapped forever. As they attempted the ritual, a massive dark shadow appeared, consuming anyone who came near it. Reem barely escaped, leaving her friends behind in the house, which vanished as soon as she stepped outside. From that day on, nightmares haunted her relentlessly. Part 6. The Cursed Nightmares. After escaping House 13, Reem believed she was safe. However, her real horror had only begun. Her first night back home was plagued with nightmares. She saw her friends' faces trapped behind walls, screaming her name. Sometimes the shadowy figure of the father appeared, his deep, chilling voice saying, "The curse isn't over yet." Reem woke up in a panic to find a strange mark etched on her wrist, the same symbol she had seen on the house walls. She tried to ignore it, but the mark grew darker each day, feeding off her fear. Part 7. Searching for the Truth. Determined to uncover the house's secrets, Reem began researching its history. She visited local libraries and spoke to elderly residents in the neighborhood. She learned that the man who once owned the house, named Youssef, was a mathematician who lost his family in a mysterious accident. Driven mad by grief, he turned to forbidden rituals to summon their spirits. But instead of reviving them, he unleashed a dark entity that took over the house and killed anyone who entered it. Through the journals she found, Reem discovered that the only way to break the curse was to return to the house and complete the ritual Yusuf had started. However, there was a condition. She had to do it alone, as the cursed spirits drew strength from groups. Part 8. Returning to the House. On a stormy, moonless night, Reem gathered the necessary tools and returned to the house. Darkness consumed the streets, and the wind carried eerie whispers. As she entered, a heavy, oppressive energy enveloped her. The voices began again, louder and clearer this time, as though the spirits were begging her for release. Part 9. The Forbidden Ritual. At the center of the house, Reem found a large circle engraved into the floor. She placed the tools as described in the journal. black candles, a piece of her clothing, and drops of her blood. As she began chanting the ritual, the house trembled violently, as if resisting her efforts. The father's shadow appeared once more, larger and more terrifying than before. He roared, "You will not free them!" and lunged at her. Struggling, Reem continued the incantation until a bright white light engulfed the darkness. Part 10. The End or the Beginning. When Reem awoke, she was outside. The house had disappeared entirely, as though it had never existed. A strange sense of relief washed over her, but the mark on her wrist remained, growing more defined. As she walked away, she caught a glimpse of Wissam's smiling face reflected in a shop window. She turned, but no one was there. It dawned on her that while the curse had ended in the house, it had now passed on to her. Is the curse truly over, or has Reem become the new bearer of the darkness? Let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.